Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome back to Breath of Fiction. Way to date the video. I'm Dan, also known as DCC Rules, and today we're going to be finishing off talking about Avatar.
Are we sure we're going to be finishing? We might have to do a third-parter now, DCC, if the last one's any indicator.
Listen, if there's anything I'm good at, it's finishing.
Really? Okay, well. All right, well, let's maybe, if we have to do a Korra sequel, what did you think about that? Because we've just been talking about the regular series.
Well, unlike most people, I actually did like Korra.
No, but I mean, like, we already did. We're not. This isn't the half of the core of the Avatar core and Korra. This is half of the other half of the original series, and we haven't touched Korra for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't.
Anyway, you guys want to introduce yourselves or just jump into it?
Yeah, we can just jump into it.
Let's just jump into it then.
Yeah.
But I suppose, what was the last thing we did talk about?
I think we finished up with the last of the demons that people actually care about, Susumaru and Yahaba.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My God.
Sorry.
All right, so that we finished the demons, so we got to go to the heroes.
Heroes, yeah, slayers. Heroes is strong.
Quote-unquote heroes.
So I think we had mentioned before.
Subjective.
I think we had mentioned before that Yorichi would be the previous Avatar, and Tanjiro is his next incarnation, correct?
Yeah, I think yeah.
I suppose
that
so.
Right.
All right.
Just curious, did we establish what element Yorichi was? Was he fire? Sun?
Yeah, fire.
Because if he's fire, then
Tanjiro goes bald if we do that, because he's a monk.
We don't have to adapt the cultures.
Maybe he's a water bender at first.
Maybe.
Because if Yori is water, then...
well, I'm assuming we're not adapting the whole Fire Nation invasion plot thing if we're going to be doing it that way.
No.
Because then we have to... Okay, then in that case, we don't have... We can pretty much work around over there. We don't have to make it so that he's a fire or whatever.
Yeah. The only thing is, following the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So does that include learning bending then?
I would say...
Like if it...
One thing I just thought of, what breath did we say that Kokushiba was? And are we going with they had the same breath or they had opposite breaths? Because I think we either gave him water or wind.
I would say I think we give... I would say we give... I think it might be... I want to say water just because of the tranquility thing for Kokushiba, but at the same time wind because wind is more connected with the moon. Like as Kokushiba was, more or less.
Well, wind more for his attacks, if anything, I would say. Water is definitely associated with the moon. It's one of the two spirits that guardian.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, okay, water, that's true. So we're gonna...
The moon and the ocean are girlfriends.
But didn't Yorichi abandon his, like, Didn't Yorichi abandon his thing or whatever? Like his wife, I'm pretty sure.
No, Kokushiba did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kokushiba abandoned his wife and kids. He had kids.
Yorichi's wife died.
That reminds me, I think we also established that Muichiro would be Kokushiba / Michikatsu's biological son. To keep, skip the generational gap to kind of keep the timeline intact.
Oh, no, Daddy Tokito. Oh.
We all know what you want to do with Daddy Tokito.
Oh, Daddy Tokito's baby. So baby. He's so cute. He's so precious.
But no, so with all that considered, I think we would say Michikatsu is water. So do we want to say that Yorichi is born water as well, or fire? Because I feel like those are the two best for him. And if we do water...
Fire and water. I think it would be fire, just because of the fire and water relationship between the two.
Because once again, if we follow the classic Avatar cycle, we could mix it up if we want, but if we follow the classic cycle, Tanjiro would have to start off as air if Yorichi was.
Hello?
Huh?
DCC, no!
What?
No, no.
He's back.
Did I cut out for a second?
Yes, yes, you
Yeah.
did.
Where did I leave off?
Everything.
I
No, you said we left off on the fire and water connection.
I said that if Yori is fire, then we have to give. Well, unless we abandon the original cycle, fire goes to air, then to water, then to earth, back to fire. We can change up the cycle if we like, but otherwise, we would be saying that if Yori is fire, Tanjiro is.
Okay.
But once
So
we can change up the cycle, if you like.
I think
Okay.
maybe he's air, and then he's taught like water bending, and then he's taught like fire bending.
I absolutely.
well, we could mix the breath, like the function of the breaths with bending. Like technically all of them are related, all of them, like you know how every breathing aside from derivatives of the derivatives and or basically just equals of derivatives of sun breathing, right?
Yeah.
So what if they're like kind of like that, like equal breaths? Like, and let's say like the master form is the combined version of like the bending, the combined version, like you know the avatar can bend all four elements at once, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that itself constitutes its own thing called element bending, like the combination of all of them, and then those four are equal, so they can be learned in different orders. If you know, like you can be born like I would say the rebirth cycle would be the same, like fire, air, water, earth, fire, but the learning of bending doesn't have to be the same.
Yeah, that I'm completely agree with, because pretty sure did Aang learn them in the proper order?
Yeah, but Aang learned them in the proper order. He tried to learn fire bending
Yeah,
outside.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But did Korra learned it in the proper order too, because she would have ended with air, which she did. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say obviously he starts off with an airbender. He can do that himself. Gyu teaches him waterbending. Kyojiro would start him on firebending. Maybe he doesn't get the chance to finish if we follow that plot point. Rip. He could maybe finish teaching it himself, or maybe develop another teacher. Does he work with Senjiro?
Yeah, Shinjiro could do it.
Could even we could say Mitsuri, if love is derived from fire, she could teach him.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool actually.
And then for Earthbender, there's probably a few options. Probably number one, Gyome.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would be a complete cycle. Sound about right?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on Tanjiro?
I think his favorite elements to bend should be fire and water.
Oh, absolutely.
We can do that. Yeah.
He'd probably feel most comfortable in water, but he would definitely feel most powerful doing fire.
Exactly.
Learning to blend the two.
Effect, if anything.
Because
he's entered
like
with
a waterbender and then striking like a firebender. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Muhammad Ali makes a cameo. That's good.
Savage Man, more like no.
No. That's the answer. Okay, but moving on.
Zar asked us how we would write the spirits in this AU. Could you specify which spirits? Are you talking about Rava and Vatu?
I think it's just in general spirits, like it has like
so
Aang, like
we did bring this up.
Spirit.
Yeah, we did bring this up in the previous episode. I like the idea that the spirits would be used essentially as tools to manipulate people's bending. So even if you're a non-bender or if you're a bender, you could like Muzan as the dark avatar would manipulate spirits and use them to augment people's bending. So characters like Duma may not have been a bender, but his spirit makes him a strong ice bender.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just wanted to say that we didn't mention who was all in this podcast at the beginning of it.
Well, I asked if you guys wanted to introduce yourselves.
No, you didn't.
Sparta,
We didn't. We just kind of jumped into it.
Wait, what's going on?
remember how
You
I
didn't
said,
exactly-
do you guys want to introduce yourselves or just get started? And you said, let's just get started.
Yeah.
No, but I meant like we. Was that during recording or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I must have dozed off. Never mind then.
Pay
But yeah,
attention,
in case-
Bradford.
Well, I just wanted to let the viewers know that we have our wonderful artist Machine Court in here, even though she's not speaking.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we are transmitting her thoughts to you all as well.
Zara
Alright.
is just our cute little voyeur who does amazing art. They gave me a Christmas present. It's Aisha X Nezuko again.
Mhm.
Oh no.
It's the best ship.
favorite pairing.
They're so
Oh,
cute.
boy.
No.
Okay.
Pairing. Like, honestly, my favorite ship that I've developed in my AU is probably Hisenchu X Omizurami, because it's one of those, it's never going to happen ships, but it also has a lot of potential.
You're just that guy who loves ripping things away from people with hope.
No!
I like to do that too.
I mean, no, I do that, but it just seems you revel in it, my guy.
Maybe a little. Anyway, back on topic. Should we move-
I like to do it too. Okay, fine.
Do you revel in it? That's the question.
Yes, I revel so much in it. I love making people suffer emotionally for my writing. Okay, next thing. Okay.
Next flex.
The next Muichiro death.
Bloodbending.
R-rated
It's
Avatar.
bloodbending this time.
Bro,
Oh.
is he gonna get earthbended in half again?
Oh god.
Oh, imagine
Someone's
that.
gonna metal
Kokushibo just
bend him in
bloodbends Muichiro into place and he's like, I'm not letting you move. And then he just slices him.
Hmm.
No, what if like Kokushibo it's the Upperman one it's the Upperman one fight, but it's a bending fight, and then he just goes all out, he bends everywhere. Like I think what is he bending? Like blood bending?
I think
He
he said he'd initially be a waterbender, and he probably would be a very good bloodbender. I think
Yeah, what
because
if
he's
he
the
just, like-
number one, he would have a spirit that allows him to bend multiple elements, or he could become the new Dark Avatar after Muzan. One of the two.
So the thing is, what if he's getting attacked? He just starts bending ice, like all over the place, and it like it slices like Mui and Genya in half. Like that's R-rated Avatar.
Honestly, listening to you say that gave me an even more impressive to visualize thought. I want you to picture a bending battle with the martial arts, and you have a really good
Mhm.
bender. You go to bend at him. He puts out your hand. The second you start bending, your arm seizes up. It's just long enough for him to attack you and slice off your arm, and then he just keeps going. It's just very quick, subtle blood bending. It's no longer, the classic, puppeteer them. No, it's just enough to immobilize you. That would be terrifying.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And you could probably balance it between people rather easily. Because he's just like, okay, your arm, your leg, your arm, your head, that. Just Sees.
Sees
Doesn't look
your
cool.
heart dead in a few seconds.
Well, he'd
What
have
if
to
he did
hold.
it? What if he did it? What if he did it on a cellular level, which is to stop all the mitochondria in your cells from making
I don't know.
ATP?
That seems pretty advanced. Maybe, but
But that's like if you stop aerobic. Well, are we assuming like glycolysis is stopping, or anaerobic respiration? Because even if you like stop aerobic respiration, the body has anaerobic respirations
Yeah.
to compensate for that in the muscles. Although I think for the brain, um,
Brain
would
is
be fucked. The brain would
yeah.
absolutely be fucked. The brain uses glucose and both like kind of fasting and a full state. So that means if you stop the brain from performing aerobic respiration, you're you're pretty screwed. Yeah.
But anyway, Nezuko. Are we saying she's an airbender as well, or is she a firebender?
I think firebender because
Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, if we already made Yorichi and Kokushibo different things, so why the hell not? We
Yeah.
don't have to keep the whole four nations for separate. We can just say they've intermingled for a bit.
Oh, they've
They're doing a public
intermingled. Like Aisha.
You kind of came in a bit humble.
yeah, maybe like Kie is an airbender and Tanjiro is like a firebender. So they have an airbender baby and a firebender baby.
Okay.
Moving on, like
So then,
do you see Nezuko's plot though being like, because in KMY, she turns into a demon, she gets gagged, she's kind of like a sidekick. How do we see her being in this setup?
I think she's like Katara because she's like the. I think she'd be like she's Tanjiro's younger sister, but I feel like she'd be like the assertive younger sibling. Maybe like have you guys heard of Cucumber Quest?
Nope.
yeah.
Yeah. So Almond is like the adventure little sister, and Cucumber is kind of like nerdy big brother. I think like Tanjiro and Nezuko can like have that dynamic, but Tanjiro is like he's not exactly a nerd. He can handle himself. So there's less of that contrast, but I picture Nezuko kind of being like Almond, but a lot nicer. So she's like definitely a bit more hot-headed, a bit more assertive. But I think she should like maybe have her full personality for the Avatar.
Here's
AU.
a
But
thought
that's
for you
just my
guys.
opinion.
Here's a thought. What if Nezuko wants to be a bender more than Tanjiro does? Tanjiro, he's an he doesn't really pick up on his bending because he just feels the world around him. He doesn't overthink about it. He's more focused on his life in the mountain.
Mhm.
Nezuko, she's like, I'm a firebend. I know it. I want to get out there and learn it more. And as she goes out and explores the mountain, she gets attacked by like a bender or a spear, and she gets saved by either Gyu, or if we want to change things up, Urokotaki. And when Tanjiro shows up to help, he notices Tanjiro bending two elements or something like that. He notices something that tells him this is the Avatar. So he's like, listen, you need to go learn. And he sends Tanjiro out, but Nezuko, wanting to bend so much, she follows him even though she's not supposed to.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay. I see what you mean.
And-
Yeah, I think like we have to give her a bit of personality at least, just because this is Avatar verse as well.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good.
Because Nezuko,
That's what I was thinking. Like,
I feel like in the canon you can kind of see she's a very polite, respectful person, but she's a passionate person. She has energy, She wants.
yeah, I think she's she's like a bit more like aggressive than Tanjiro, and like a bit more like like
Assertive?
I'm gonna yeah bit more assertive. Tanjiro's like a bit more chill and laid back. Yeah.
So now, do we want him to go find and study with Giyu right away, or do we want him to meet the team along the way? Like, do we want him to have the run in with Zenitsu and um, Inosuke on the way to Giyu, or do we want him to just get straight to Giyu, and where do we go from there?
Personally, I think we could like if we do Gyu first, that could be like a nice I think a bit of a nice deviation from the like typical hero's journey because like first we have this training arc with the teacher and then we can after that we go to see the rest of the world. But that's my opinion.
I will say this though, Nezuko would become very, you know, let's say wanderlust. I feel if the only bending she gets to see for a while is water bending. If we
Yeah.
use Zenitsu, he's associated with thunder. What element gets thunder?
Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he can be a lightning bender.
Exactly, but what element is a lightning bender?
Fire. Oh, that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, it's the same element as Nezuko. So immediately they kind of like hit it off, and it's like, oh, I only know this one thing. And she's like, well, I want to learn that thing. It's something to learn. And so, they kind of play off each other, trying to build each other up. And if you do also throw a Nosuke in there, Beast is supposed to be derived from wind. Do we say he's like a very.
Oh, yeah, so Tanjiro can develop
Yeah.
air breathing. I mean,
Yeah,
his
he can develop that more and learn Inosuke's style, which I feel would be like a very, CQB style breath of like air bending. Because in the series we see a lot of wide motions and
Yeah.
this, but in a Nosuke we see his like get in there, move, move, move. I think that could also be very like assisted through air bending.
Yeah.
Gives Tanjiro this new method
Yeah.
to learn, and they kind of expand
Yeah.
each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we got pretty much the Kamaboko gang. How about the rest of the senses?
Well, Kanao is, she's gonna be with the butterfly house. Genya,
Yeah.
he's gonna be somewhere between like. We could say maybe Sanemi works with Gyome and Genya's with them. So
Okay.
and they're
Yeah.
there. And maybe they're all part of this higher organization, but they're not as connected or
Yeah.
as the Slayers.
So like the White Lotus or something.
Kind of, yeah. Which you see it in the Avatar. It's there, but you don't see the connections at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I see.
And for the Gyushin,
Okay.
we could say
Yeah.
is also where Giyu
Would the
is.
Butterfly House be like the Kyoshi Warriors? Like,
Yes, that's actually amazing. Like maybe
I saw that on Twitter.
yes. And then like they could be like either Giyu is married into the butterfly house, or maybe they just happen to live together in the same area.
Amazing.
So when Tanjiro and the gang go to and meet up with Giyu, they get to know this butterfly house. And do we want now if we're saying that the Kyoshi warriors, do we want to say all of them are non-benders?
I think Kano can.
Because if they were
I think-
benders, I would say water bending,
Yeah.
plant bending, but
Yeah, I think water bending instead of earth bending. Maybe Kanao and Kane have like a foggy swamp bottom boy.
yeah, the foggy
bending
swamp
where they
style.
grow plants. Yeah, Foggy Swamp styles. And then
And maybe like
Shinobu might-
Aoi and Shinobu are kind of like just healers.
yeah. And they prefer to like fight not using bending.
I just gave myself a sads.
Oh,
The reason Kanai dies is because Shinobu couldn't get to her in time. Like they got
Bro.
separated, and she was supposed to be
Oh.
Kanai's healer, and she didn't manage to do it in time. And so Shinobu tries to teach herself how to fight, but she never gets good at it. The only thing she ever learns is blood bending, and she's not good at it. I'm
Oof.
a little sad in the chat. I'm sorry.
oh no.
Why must you hurt me in this way?
Because good writing
Mm,
gets to your heart. It's like
in
cholesterol.
a good way and a bad way.
Exactly. Like cholesterol.
Oh my god. Well, there's good
Oh,
cholesterol and
let's-
there's bad cholesterol, but never mind. Okay. Butterfly House, healers, and foggy swamp benders. Okay. No, when I like imagine Aoi and as a Kyoshi warrior, I imagine like the fight like a girl song.
Yeah.
You gotta fight with honor, fight, or you're gonna fight. Da 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 da.
Also, that
Okay.
would be such a great like have a Sokka moment for Inosuke, where he's like, "Ha, you girls are warriors," and then Aoi, literally the weakest of them, just, "Pah!" and he's just like,
Beats him up.
"I think I'm in love."
Mm,
Put him in his place, though. It reminds me of that like ship where someone tweeted that Oe, Aoi, they didn't like it until like they found out the dynamic was like girl boss Oe and
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
male wife Inosuke.
I mean,
Honestly,
did you see the illustration book that they released recently?
Look.
The one with the one where Aoi, like Inosuke is giving like Aoi like a shoulder ride or something like that. That one. The data book.
Those two can take on the world together.
Yep.
Now-
Absolutely.
Quick
They
question.
take on fan fiction, that's for sure. There's one I've read, but anyway, we don't have to get into that.
Yeah. Do you think Kanai would go with the crew, or do you think she would stay in the butterfly state for now?
She'd go with the crew. I mean, she was an active demon slayer as a Hashira, so there's no way she shouldn't
Yeah.
be able to go.
Then
with
I
the
will
Yeah.
say, if we go with the idea I had for Shinobu Kanai, God, it's so difficult.
Kanae.
Yeah, maybe
then
Shinobu
I would
would
say
like
that-
let her go to like see the world and like find herself.
But what I was gonna say is, if you have a healer attacker pair, Aoi has to come along.
Well, they can both. They can both find their place in the world for themselves.
It's
Oi might like have. I might have some like insecurity about like not being like an offensive fighter, but
like she can
she
defend
can find her own
herself. She's
confidence.
like she's decent, but she can't quite compare with someone like Kanao. And even though
Yeah.
that one time she knows like Inosuke has power on her, and if she gave her a chance, like he could probably beat her ass. But of course, Inosuke gets so scared after that first fight, he's like in reverence. He doesn't go after her.
Right now, it seems like we're going into Grand Blue Fantasy kind
Okay.
of vibes. And the whole supporting system.
Yeah. So the thing is, all right, so these two girls can go into the world and discover themselves. I always love teen girl coming of age stories. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I want to take some quick inventory. I'm thinking the Fire Slayers. We know that Obanai and Mitsuri both studied under Rengoku. They were both in the Rengoku house.
Mhm.
So you have the three.
Wait. Obanai is a water derivative user.
Yes, but in the
Maybe he sticks out like
Why?
a sore thumb. Like he's in a family of fire vendors, but he's a water vendor.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
It's like,
once again, he's not born into the Rengokus, but the Rengokus raise him.
yeah,
He did train
yeah.
Exactly.
Kyojiro, so
Okay.
it's best to have him live among them.
Yeah.
And I think Open-Eye would probably come from a family of female bloodbenders.
Okay.
So we have Open-Eye, Mitsuri, and Kyojiro in that house. And then we already said Genya, Tsunemi, and Gyome would be like, they would all be together. Gyome would be Earth, Tsunemi Wind, Genya maybe a non-bender.
Yeah.
Who are we missing?
Non-bender, but he's like Sokka.
Maybe. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Perhaps. So then who would? But then who's Sokka's love interest? Who's Genya's love interest then?
Well, I mean,
Doesn't have one.
Inosuke is a kind of like more badass Sokka, but we'll figure that out. We can always create Osuke.
Yeah.
All right.
But my bigger concern right now is I know that we're missing Muichiro. Am I forgetting anyone else? Uzui. That's right. Okay. So
Uzui.
Murichiro, Uzui, Murata. Are there any other Slayers we have to mention?
Ozaki.
Ozaki.
Okay.
Oh, Ozaki is
Okay.
the girl with Murata, right?
Yeah.
Who died in like
Takeuchi.
15 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Takeuchi is that dude with Yushiro.
I know who you're talking about now.
Was like, yeah. He was like, eat me. I love that dude. I love him so much.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that guy. I remember.
Because I want to kind of just take inventory. Because if we're saying we have the fire and the earth people, where do we put Uzui, Murichiro, and the lesser Slayers?
Pretty sure that we can make Uzui an airbender, except he's a very flamboyant and doesn't want to do any monk style stuff.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this also goes along with Uzui's theme of rebelling against tradition, because I think maybe like, imagine if his dad is a really strict airbender, like, Uzui was like, nah, fuck that, and then he decided to be very worldly and no be flamboyant and be bedazzled and have multiple wives and
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
so
just
if he has
be-
multiple wives, are you going to say, is he, maybe just a wealthy member of the White Lotus? Maybe he's someone who, just has status.
Perhaps.
yeah, it could be.
Because I'm just trying to think of,
Or
how do I draw in the rest of the characters and connect the dots? And also, another quick question. What do you guys think about Yurichiro, Sabito, and Makomo? Are they all still dead?
honestly, I love my girl. Okay, fine.
Give a suggestion if you have one. If you have one.
Honestly, what if Sabito and Makomo still live with Urokodaki and they're just like his helpers in training? I feel like that would be cool. Yeah.
Well, if we also have Urokodaki as the one who identifies Tanjiro as the Avatar, maybe they're members of the White Lotus specifically tasked with that. So they're
Yeah.
almost like Tanjiro's guardians in a way. They watch over him throughout the series.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought that maybe the Sabito Mokumo were like people who got lost in the spirit world and became spirits eventually, whatever reason. Like we've seen that happen with Iroh and certain.
That could still be
The
good.
same thing with,
We can combine both
the
concepts.
same thing with like Face Stealer as well. Like we saw what happened. Like you can get trapped in the spirit world, like with Zhao.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. So what if they're spirits and we don't see them too clearly most of the time, but we see that they're there and they're assisting in ways?
Yeah, that could work.
That absolutely could work.
Who would be? But then again, who would be the bear? Like the weird spirit bear thing from that episode where they're kidnapping villagers. Remember that?
I
Mhm.
remember that, the panda.
And Moo. Just kidding.
That honestly would be a great
Or
role
maybe
for Aaron.
Hyro? Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay, yeah, black and white. Not black and white. Not a black and white morality though.
How about Hyro?
Pyro. I don't know if a specific thing for Hyro, to be quite
Well,
honest.
If we
Spirits
look,
aren't necessarily bad or good in the Avatar series. Except for Batu, obviously.
Hyro could be like a wolf spirit.
I guess.
wait,
Wolves
who are
are
you talking about?
leadership.
I thought you were talking about Uncle Iroh. Who are you talking about?
Pyro,
Hyro,
the
Lower Moon.
former Lower Moon 2 that Rengoku killed in the Gaiden.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he would have to be a firebender because he is a combustion bender. Because he's
Oh yeah, you're right.
Combustion Man. Yeah, that
It's
works.
a combustion bender who has like what's an animal we confuse with wolves? Bison wolf, not bison.
Give
Goat
me a moment.
wolves. He's a combustion bender. He has a pack of goat wolves, which is the body of like the upper.
Like a big
The
horned
front-
like wolf with
Yes, a big horned wolf with hooves and a big bushy tail.
I was gonna go with rhino wolves, but I'm
Imagine trying to
gonna go.
the bray of a goat with the like howl of a wolf.
I bet if we search the internet, we'd find some.
Anyway, I'm just trying to think. Like, let's continue plot
Rhino wolves are cool too.
because I honestly think we should have Muichiro and Yuichiro be alive together. I'm just not sure how to get them well into the plot.
Yay. They deserve to be happy.
Maybe
Well,
they're like Zuko.
I'm not gonna promise that they're gonna be happy because I mean they're the children of a very powerful evil bender, and they're destined to, set them on the right course. So at least one of them's probably gonna die.
Zuko.
Together. Not like that.
Zuko.
Oh, God.
I mean, but less messed up.
But I'm just trying to think, with characters like Uzui, Muichiro, like, how do we introduce them into the plot? Because so far we have an idea of, yes, Zara.
Yes,
Yars has
that's
posted
totally
us.
Dameska and Desna.
Just reminded me of the twins from Korra, who are both waterbenders, sons of, daughters of someone evil. That is
Son and daughter.
you are a genius.
Desna is a dude.
Oh right, yeah, one's a dude.
Eska's a girl. Desna's a dude.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just thinking we got up to the butterfly estate with Giyu.
Yeah.
Along the way, we meet Inosuke and Zenitsu. Maybe we fight with one of the demons or something.
Yep. And maybe Uzui can come in as like an episodic plot. Like maybe he also is a traveling musician. So on their travels, they run
Secret
into
tunnel.
him.
Secret tunnel.
Please, from the vine.
No, no. Don't make me cry.
Oh no. Make him cry. Make him cry.
Little soldier boy.
Comes marching home.
Okay,
Oh no,
Oh,
so I'm saying
what if
after the
as their
butterfly
cover,
state. Huh?
what if as their cover, Guillaume, Sanemi, and Genya have like a tea shop?
I like that. Honestly, you've been talking about Zuko. I've heard you mention him once or twice. Sinem
Mhm.
perfect Zuko with Guillaume as Iroh.
I love that.
They have the perfect personalities to fit that dynamic.
Yes. Um.
And give them a tea shop. It's perfect. But
Mhm.
so then, if they're going to a tea shop, maybe where Earth is the prominent element, it's also a wealthy area. Maybe that's where we find Azui. You know,
Yeah.
or after it.
Mhm.
But so let's think about on the way from Butterfly Estate to the Rengoku Estate. What events could we have there? Maybe bring in Wichiro, some of the lower Slayers. What enemies do you think they would encounter there?
Probably like bandits or something, or maybe.
Well, I'm thinking like characters from the series who as bad guys. Who do you think would be interesting to see them bump into?
Well, Enmu could like um he could be kidnapping people to experiment on with his drugs. He's like a
Or
mad scientist.
along a similar line, he could be using his abilities. Maybe he's a water and airbender who does something to, make their
Mhm.
minds more pliable in a way. Maybe like limited asphyxiation.
Yep. And
And he lures them away, but he's not the one experimenting on them. He enables them to be experimented on with spirits by someone else.
oh, that's a good idea. Um okay, so who would do the experimenting?
It probably either
Go see.
on or one of his subordinates, maybe like Hantengu, Gyoko,
Maybe Gyoko?
maybe even
Gyoko.
Nakame.
Yeah, I could see that. Or Gyoko who like
Yeah.
dissects them after experimenting
Gyoko's
once
a
they're
mad
not
waterbender
used.
who will
Yeah.
just pull out your blood and just study it.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like Gyoko would fit the mad scientist type. Um
Quick
and like
thought,
oh,
because we're
you know
talking about events that would happen around the Rengoku place, so I'm assuming this would be after they meet them, and these are going to lead up to Kyojiro's death. If we're at the Rengoku place, it's a place of fire. Who is another
mm-hmm.
fire slayer, like another person we can associate with fire we haven't mentioned yet? There's one person.
Who is it?
Aki?
Kaigaku.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's
shit, you're right.
what if he's a rogue lightning bender who caused
Well,
Zenitsu's lightning bending teacher to kill himself?
or even better, maybe Toru, is part of the Rengoku house, or at least associated with it.
Okay. And that and he like infiltrates them from inside and
Well,
does stuff.
what I'm thinking is, let's say Zenitsu and Kaigaku knew each other for a while. Maybe they're actual relatives. Zenitsu wanted to go to the Rengoku house, but he couldn't. Kaigaku did.
Oh.
And when Kaigaku sees that Zenitsu has become stronger without him, he becomes jealous. And so we get into this whole spirit investigation where they find out people are experimenting with spirits and stuff. He realizes he's an option to have more power. Then that you see the battle between Akaza and Kyojiro, and during that battle, Kaigaku gets separated and he gets the choice: do you want to join us? I see you have that desire. Brings him in.
And maybe they could face off in a final Agni Kai.
That could be cool. That could be.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Lightning Bender Agni Kai. And maybe like yeah.
Just Zenitsu
Uh,
and Kyaku shooting lightning back and forth.
yeah.
But let's take a step back. Anything in like so Enmu's gonna happen after they get to the fire state. They're gonna stumble upon
Mhm.
that. We should probably have Rui be between that. Maybe on their way there they have to go through some kind of forest or something.
Mhm.
And that happens to be Rui's domain, you know.
Yeah. And Rui has been blood bending people into being his family members.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then like Tanjiro and Ko are like, what the heck is all this? Daddy issues, mommy issues. And then Rui's just a bender with a lot of daddy and mommy issues. And then he's like, I'm gonna bend you guys into my family. And then they're like, no. And then Rui gets defeated. And he's
Well,
like,
here's the
oh.
thing: it would be very difficult for most of them to do anything about it. The only people who could are Kanao and Aoi. I imagine Aoi probably wouldn't be able to do much because she's more
Yeah.
passive and weaker. Kanao would try; she'd be resisting, but there wouldn't be much she could do until
Mhm.
two other waterbenders showed up and help.
Murata and Ozaki?
I think they would already be
Pairing.
of two stronger waterbenders.
I mean, they did survive, so that
Yeah.
has that going for them.
Indeed.
Come on,
Except Ozaki, poor Ozaki.
I'm thinking of Muichiro and Yoichiro.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
We off Yoichiro there, though.
I would say
Yeah, no. He could travel with...
we would introduce these two characters here, show they have a lot of potential and strength. Maybe they travel with them to the Rengoku house along the way. They teach, Kanao and Aoi some tips. They tell them about bloodbending, which the both of them do because their dad did it. But they're like, yeah, you don't want to necessarily do it, but it's good to know. They give them pointers so that they can resist it better.
Yeah.
And then
maybe
House Yorichiro and Miyoichiro break off. Don't know where they would go. We'll see them later.
Yeah.
Okay. Two things. We were talking about twins, so I see Machine Corp putting the twins, like the water twins from Korra in the chat. And second, when did this happen? I kind of pulled a Suedo DCC and zoned out for like a good 10 minutes.
When did
Yeah, okay, it's fine. We can get into that later. I actually was like so
Yeah, we
surprised.
could.
I just opened my eyes, and then all of a sudden, I'm just confronted by the two twins that are meant to be creepy about it. I'm like, what the hell?
twins,
Yeah,
Basil? Twins.
Yeah, they're Rui and Yui.
I can't remember their names.
Asuka and Desna.
Yeah.
If you ever
Okay.
ask me a question and not disrupt the flow of the conversation, just put it in the chat. We'll just communicate through text. It's quieter.
It's boring. Why do we not have a giant text of essay about what we write? We talk about it because it's quicker.
Indeed.
Fair. Anyway, so we say we have Enmu. I want to say, is he like an airbender, and he's just partial asphyxiation or something, put people in a loopy state?
Probably.
I was thinking maybe he's just a waterbender that can manipulate the flow of the brain a little bit better and put you into unconscious sleep. He can manipulate it that way, kind of going with his.
He can manipulate drugs in the air, like hallucinogenic gases.
I'm gonna manipulate drugs. I'm gonna take some LSD and some absinthe and manipulate life.
But then, where are you going to get them from? It's not like he's producing them.
Like, the Oracle of Delphi, she would sniff gas fumes from the, crack at Delphi, and she would get high.
Sniffing down people's cracks?
Yeah,
what is this,
so
Vegas?
what if Enmu lives near a gas crack, okay? Like the one at Delphi.
That could be interesting.
And the gas fumes come to the crack, and he gathers them. and he wafts it into people's respiratory systems.
Because where would where would firebenders most sit up? Volcanoes. What do volcanoes have? Lots of messed up gases.
Sulfur.
Yes.
This is a great question. Thank you.
You can smell, like, you can just smell the demons are here because you smell sulfur. Wait a minute, that's just ghosts from Supernatural now.
So Akaza, I would say a non-bender, but the spirit that manipulates him. I'm gonna say manipulate because while he's really strong, his spirit's kind of broken from what happened to him, and so
He's the gender bent version of the mother of all faces, and a twisted
Oh
version.
shit.
Doesn't know who he is. He has a different, like, because of that, or he's called the face stealer. Basically,
something like I get that. But I feel like maybe he's an ice bender because of Koyuki and her association with snow and ice.
Well, then I think we
Oh,
could make it Kaw the face stealer. Then I mean, Kaw was like famous for stealing the face of like the waterbender, like he's punishing or whatever. You know, you can make it that way.
Oh,
so he's
the
a
spirit possessing
basketball
him could be
face.
Ko.
Yeah, I think he could be Ko because you know he doesn't remember his own memories and face. Like he doesn't care anymore. That kind of thing.
That could
Yeah,
be.
he has a basketball face and pink hair because he stole his face off of a criminal who had the tattoos and pink hair. And his
Yeah.
original face is like black hair.
His pink hair is because, if you remember in Koyoki, well, excluding his eyebrows, unless his eyebrows became his only source of, and his eyelashes became his only source of hair, and the tattoos were there already. Who
Well,
knows?
Yeah.
to a lesser degree, when he became a demon, those were one of the traits associated with him. As his morphed form, they kind of spread. Those became his demon marks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because they symbolize he has become more sinned than he could ever be from pickpocketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where do we
Let's
go after Akaza, I guess, kills Kyojiro and steals his face?
Yes, that would be interesting.
okay.
Oh
Red
God!
light district.
Imagine the fight later on. You know they have to call in Giyu for help at some point, and you know Giyu and Tanjiro end up fighting, Akaza again. And in the middle of the fight, Akaza just puts on Kyojiro's face, and they're just like,
Oh my god.
Oh no, that would be so demented.
I like it.
Now we're getting into more. Now we're making it more Kimetsu than Avatar. I mean, even Avatar wasn't intentionally that dark in when we were watching.
Usually
what
no.
if
There were some.
Oh, it is
R-rated Avatar?
Oh, no, it implies more than it shows. At least when it
Yeah.
wasn't Korra. If it wasn't Korra, it implied more
Okay.
than.
Imagine. Okay, so I think after they go to the Rengokus, they would. Okay, this is Avatar. I know they would never add a red light district in there. Let's assume this is R-rated Avatar.
Legend of a underground series of brothels in the lower ring.
And they're owned by Uzui. But I feel like that's actually a great plot point you suggest. Yeah, they wouldn't intentionally go to a red light district, but if they're looking for this tea shop and they get lost in this big city, maybe they end up at Azui's.
Oh yeah. And like maybe like someone is jealous of his like standing and tries to wreck up his like district. He was like, nah, we gotta fight these guys.
And like he recruits the Avatar's help. It's like, you help me,
Yeah.
I'll help you find this legendary Gyome guy with his little tea shop somewhere. There's 1,000 tea shops in this fucking city. I know every single one. But I'm not gonna tell you unless you help me take out these bitches. And then Uzui points them in the direction of, Daki and
So we've downgraded Uzui to needing people's help instead of just trying to do stuff himself.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, he can do it on his own, but does he really want to? Because he does.
Oh, here's what he. I have a better idea. What if Uzui he says like I can handle it myself, but I want to make this whole thing a spectacle. Like
Yes.
they're like, you have to help me set off some like flamboyant fireworks or something.
Buoyant.
There is
We're not just
nothing cooler than having the avatar on your payroll. And if you're the biggest bitch in town and you roll up with the avatar to fuck with your enemies, no one's gonna fuck with you again.
Yeah, that could work. That could work. Because we need some flamboyance in here.
Uzui just flying up into the city, on a giant, and he's just.
Okay. Minor separation from this video. Harking back to last one. Why didn't we touch upon Uzui and Cyberpunk? Like we should have done that. But anyway, we can move on to that later because of the flamboyance
Yeah, we didn't,
thing.
did we?
Oh, we're gonna go into the next episode, but thinking about the flamboyance, like why didn't we?
But no.
See
Try.
If you see as
You
come
go.
on,
You go.
man.
You go. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just gonna make one comment that again, folks. This is what happens when Callie is not here. We go off the rails.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Every single time.
After Uzui's red light district arc, what do we do? Who
Well,
shows up?
There's two.
Mitsuri.
Well, there's two directions we could go with this. The first is Uzui tells them where the tea shop is. They go and they start learning. The other one is Uzui damages the tea shop. Sanemi comes out. Sanemi starts beating the shit out of Uzui.
Yeah, that's the yes.
Is Genya getting in on it? No, but then Genya has to confront Sanemi if he's part of Team Avatar Tanjiro.
Yeah.
Well, this would be where Genya comes into it. Maybe they meet,
Yeah.
shortly beforehand. Genya's like, well, no, I want Genya to be part of the Sanemi Gyome group. He works at the tea shop, so I feel like they'd meet him after the Sanemi fight.
Or maybe Genya wants. Maybe we could have Genya adventure, but Sanemi's kind of like, no, he can't do that, and he and Gyome get into this disagreement, and it's a whole character arc thing. It's like an episode thing, and then eventually Sanemi's hey, I want to have Genya, spread his wings a little. He probably can go adventure.
I'm trying to think
that kind of thing.
I'm trying to think of something here where it's like they have plenty of fighters. I don't want Genya to be a bender because I feel like with the character he was in Demon Slayer, it would feel weird to have him be a bender.
Yeah.
What trait can we give him that he adds something to the team?
Sokka?
Well, yeah. Is he a strategist? Maybe he's a mechanist. Maybe he creates gadgets or something.
I feel like we're a little bit getting further away from Genya's character now, because now it seems like we're making him more like the mechanist, separate from everything else. You know what?
I go into that because he uses guns in the series. In Demon Slayer he uses guns. So I thought, what might work for him in Avatar? Well, I mean, look at Korra.
Maybe he's a master archer.
Something like that could work. I was thinking, like Asami or something, where it's she has her electro gauntlets.
Okay, that I understand. That would work.
That's why I suggested, the mechanist route. Maybe he makes things. I don't know. It's just a suggestion.
I don't know. I feel like in Genya's character would be a little bit harder to adapt directly to this particular facet of Avatar.
Yeah,
just because
you do need a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah,
but then again,
or
this
they
has all
could
been
just be a
wiggle room.
ranger,
This has all been wiggle room at the end of the day with Avatar.
But I do imagine in the fight between the Zui and Sanemi, after Yutaru go down, or as they're going down, Sanemi just comes out and the two of them are just beating the shit out of each other in the sky. And Gyome just jumps up, grabs them by the throats, and just choke slams them into the dirt and is like, you two need to stop.
Guys. No.
Calm the fuck down.
I told you, no fighting in front of the tea shop.
You're scaring the customers. You're scaring your baby brother. Genya's sitting behind the bar with his like crossbow or something.
And then he's like, no, I feel like Himejima would be a mom friend in this AU. Like, he'd be like, he'd turn around and be like really chill with the Kamaboko gang, but then turn around and give Uzui and Tsunemi the scariest death glare, and then like, it's like, we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, we will get to that, just like the Buddha. Namu Amida Butsu.
Now, real
Okay.
quick, we just hit an hour. We're roughly, I would say, 3/4 to halfway through what would be our story for this. Do you guys want to go into episode 3, or you want to try and barrel through and finish this up? Because I think we have to adapt, Swordsmith Village in a way. Maybe
And
in an
then
arc or two
Fortress
there,
thing.
and then move into a final battle somehow. Do you guys think we can do that in 15, 20 minutes, or should we do another?
No, we can't. We have to make another episode.
That was having
Yeah, we'll
fun.
have to.
So, like I said at the beginning of this recording, we probably are not making. There's probably going to be a part 3, and there is. So there we go. Foreshadowing.
But I
1
am
hour and a
really
half.
liking this. Am I wrong, or are we making a good story here?
I think we are. Okay. Are we gonna do anything with like the backstories of the 3T people?
Again, that's kind of the balancing problem. Like if we
Yeah.
we have to have some wiggle room here, because I mean, if we're gonna tell a story between two premises of Avatar and Demon Slayer, we have to give and take. Like we have to, if we're gonna give and take this idea of Sanemi and Genya, like there's a little bit harder way of going about, can we really, adapt the plot of Demon Slayer to this? Like how we threw
Yeah.
away the whole you have to master the elements in order thing, like at the
Mhm.
beginning of this podcast.
Maybe
So,
like, yeah, I feel like with Tsunemi's personality, it could just be a matter of like, oh, he and Genya just happened to join the White Lotus, but Tsunemi is also very protective of Genya because this is a dangerous line of work. So it could work.
Or
the same.
I would say Gyome is high up in the White Lotus. He has his tea shop.
Mhm.
He has his history of adopting children. A lot of the street
Mhm.
rats look at him as a father. One of those street rats happened to be an older kid, Senemi, who happened to have his brother, Genya. He takes Senemi in on his tea shop. He sees Senemi has potential. He helps him grow. Senemi is working his way into the White Lotus. Genya is just working the tea shop. And then Genya wants to go out and do his own things and find his own role in the world. As maybe this mechanist or this archer or something, because he sees people with places in the world joining the White Lotus, doing their things. And he's just working at a tea shop. And he's like, clearly, I got more in me.
Yes, he can be like, yeah, I feel like this is a good adventure like story, like, and Tsunemi's like, no, my work is dangerous. You can't join.
Then I'll make my
Genya's like,
own work, damn it.
I'm gonna make my own way through this shit. Let's go.
You can go your own way.
Yeah, I think that's about it for this. I mean, we do want to save some of the better material for the 3rd episode now, don't we?
Yep.
So,
Like
all right,
when we
everyone.
come up with a ship for Genya.
let's not kill him off, okay? I don't want him to die in this Avatar AU.
I don't think we're killing off a lot of people in this AU, to be quite
Well,
honest.
I will
Yeah, we
say,
really aren't.
real quick, let's say that we do kill off Genya, and then Tsunemi goes into a rage, and he starts literally choking Kokushibu out with airbending.
Maybe.
Fully kill him. You can just... You just got dead.
Okay, well, all right. Well, we'll get into that later. But to everyone watching, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of The Breath of Fiction, Avatar Part 2. Still looking forward to Part 3. Didn't think we were going to get here, but we did. So if you have any final words, let's share them now. DCC?
See you next month for Avatar Part 3.
We have to start the next year on a good thing. All right? Anyone else?
Let's start 2021 on a good note. not being 2020.
Did you? No, actually, no. Should I mention? No. I saw like an ad the other day. Apparently, there was like for Match.com or something, and apparently it
Satan dating
was
2020.
yeah, basically.
Make 2021 your own. Yeah, that's a pretty good
For
ad.
2020, and I'm like, oh, this is what it is.
Anyway,
But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and stay forward for our next episode. Bye bye.
Mhm.
good night. Merry Christmas.
All right,
Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas.